Welcome back to another Spurs chat where we will be discussing the Premier League fixtures. They will be out at 9 o'clock, just in 4 minutes' time. I've got Spurs fans Gary, Gareth and Josh with me. Gary, let's come straight to you. Now, we all look for those fixtures. Arsenal at home, Arsenal away, Chelsea, the fixtures, the opening day fixture, the last day of the season. Who do you want Spurs to face on the opening day of the new season?
Oh, let's just get Woolwich out of the way. Let's have a home game against Woolwich. I'd love that to be the first game of the season. You know, I dread that one. I've worked out all the dates of everything important to me, like the boys' birthdays, my birthday, the wedding anniversary, the wife's birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day. I don't want it to fall on any of those. If it was the first game of the season, I would absolutely love that if we got them and beat them about 4-0. Wouldn't it be amazing? But just end the season after the first game then. It'd be great.
I don't think we've ever actually played Arsenal or Chelsea on the opening day of the season in this Premier League era.
No,
Gareth,
not what I can remember. I was thinking about it last night when you messaged us, and I don't think it was ever been an opening game ever.
Yeah. Gareth, let's come to you. Who do you want Tottenham to face on the opening day of the season?
Oh, a home game to start would be nice. We always seem to play the same teams, like it's Newcastle or else Everton. It's always the same teams over and over again, so it's strange how it's done. We did play Chelsea, I think our second game a few years ago. I think they beat us 2-1 at Wembley, didn't they? But there's good chances. I've got a feeling it's going to be Leeds. Leeds away. I don't know. I have a feeling Leeds away. I don't know. I had a look. I do want to done a screenshot thing on the Spurs, and I got Leeds as well. So that's why I thought maybe it's going to be Leeds. But I will be a difficult start. But hey, Chris, any game's difficult when you're Spurs at the moment.
Well, any game's difficult indeed. Josh, I can't even believe we're talking about Premier League football. I know we're going to talk about the Euros in a little bit, but Premier League football, you know, it's almost 2 months away. And, you know, who would you like to see Spurs playing on the opening day?
Oh, well, it's a great question. I'd really like us to play Brentford away. I don't know why. I just got a feeling we're going to get Brentford away, new to the Premier League, brand new stadium. Obviously, there's a lot of positivity at that club at the moment, and yeah, I think we're going to get Brentford away.
Brentford away. They haven't played in the top flight for 74 years. It's incredible. Gary, Brentford away. Would you like that one?
Yeah, Brentford away wouldn't be a bad one. I think was saying that. I think Anthony Costa mentioned something about when we play them, one of their players will get a hat trick or something.
Yeah.
One of our last chats. Do you remember that? He normally gets his predictions right. But yeah, Brentford away would be nice. But really, for me, I don't know. I'd like to get a really big game. Start off with a really, really big game. I mean, we know how we started last season at home to Everton. It was awful. Let's get another big game at home. But, you know, get a good result would be a good start, wouldn't it? Personally. Yeah, that's what I'd want. But we shall see.
Gareth, let's come to you. We're a minute away from the Premier League fixtures coming out. But, you know, whatever teams Tottenham get in these opening games, we have to start strong, don't we?
We have to start strong. But even like you look at Brentford, the way Brentford are playing, I watched them in the playoff final, even against us in the semi-final. They play great football. These teams coming up from the Championship aren't like, you know, guaranteed 3 points anymore. You look at Norwich, they're going to be strong. They're used to the Premier League. I know they go up and down quite a bit, but there'll be no easy games. You only have to look at Leeds coming up, who ran away the league last year. Like, and Leeds coming on and finishing in the top 10. You look at Wolves coming up. They've been an established Premier League team. So there's no guarantee these teams coming up are going to be a nice, easy start. As you say, Brentford away, Josh, be a great shop for using over there to go to. But Brentford, I look at Brentford and they probably play better football than us.
Yeah, they literally do, to be honest.
Josh, what's the game you most look forward to? You know, when these fixtures come out, what's the first one that you want to look for, and what's the one that you dread?
Well, obviously, the one that I dread is as Gary said, Woolwich. I don't like playing Arsenal. Every time we play Arsenal, it gets my nerves up, as it does with every other Spurs fan. But one game I do look forward to, it might be a bit of a controversial one, is West Ham. Whenever we play West Ham, I think it's just good banter between the fans.
I'm going to stop you there. The opening day fixture for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in the Premier League 2021-2022 season, Manchester City at home. We will be playing the champions at home on the opening day of the Premier League season. Unbelievable. We start with Manchester City at home, Wolves away, and Watford at home. They are the opening three fixtures in August 2021. How are you feeling about that, Josh?
Well, all I can say is that our new manager is in for a big shock, because they're three hard games, especially Like going to Wolves after a game against Man City is going to be tough, and then Watford we usually struggle against. So it could be 3 really tough games for Spurs. But also on the other hand, we could go off to a flying start, getting a win against Man City on the first.
What's that,
Gary?
Gareth, let's come to you. As I just mentioned there, Manchester City at home, Wolves away, Watford at home. They are the August fixtures. Now listen to the September fixtures. Crystal Palace away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away. How are you feeling?
This is up because the new manager, obviously, we know he does. He's coming on. It's going to be announced. Well, it was supposed to be today, wasn't it? But everyone's saying it could be delayed due to travel restrictions. But and you know what? There's not a lot of love for him in terms of the fans aren't happy with the appointment. So it's not his fault at the end of the day. We have to get behind him when it comes on, Fonseca. But it's a difficult start. You look at Wolves. Wolves away is never an easy game. You know, I know we've won there a couple of times, but they've been real battles. We've lost them at home a few times. I know we beat them this season. So they're always very difficult games. As you say, Josh, Watford seems to be a bit of a bogey team for us. Palace away is always difficult with fans. Chelsea, we know our record against Chelsea is not great. Arsenal, it's not no easy games on there. And I remember when we were playing, we used to look at games like Palace, Watford, Wolves, just tick, we'll win. But it's all changed now, and we need to strengthen the squad for the start of the season.
Gary, let's come to you. Just mentioned there, in September, we've got Chelsea at home and Arsenal away. And weirdly, in January, we play Arsenal at home. And then the very next week, again, we play Chelsea away. So we've got these fixtures, back to back in September and January.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Who's Boxing Day?
I'm not going to lie, I can't hear an absolute thing. So I'm going to jump out, change my phone, and come back in. I heard something about Chelsea and then Arsenal. It didn't sound good to me, but let me change my phone and I'll come back in 2 minutes. All right? See you in a minute.
Chris, who's Boxing Day, New Year's? She's around that tight schedule.
The Boxing Day fixture is Crystal Palace at home. And then on the 29th of December, we've got Southampton away. And then on the 1st of January, it's Watford away. But as you said, Gareth, I look at these fixtures. Where are the easy fixtures? There are no easy fixtures in the Premier League.
No, there's none. And you have to be honest, at the minute, no one's fearing us. There's a lot of uncertainty. The fixtures have come out, we haven't even got a manager. We know who it is, but it's still not been announced yet, so there's still so much uncertainty. But we don't even know pre-season fixtures yet. When are we kicking off our pre-season? Who are we playing? It all seems very unplanned through together. When Mourinho was sacked, there was no plan. And I tell you what, whoever the new manager was going to be, they have a big job in their hands. It does need someone with, I think, Premier League experience. But they're going down this route with Paratici, Fancy, and Fonseca. And to be honest, that's very underwhelming, but we're going to have to get behind him.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the manager in a little bit, Gareth. Josh, let's come back to you. The May fixtures, the final 3 Premier League fixtures of the brand new season will be Liverpool away, Burnley at home, and Norwich City away. As I just said, there's no easy fixtures, is there?
No, you're totally right, Chris, and I totally agree with you as well, Gareth. Every single game is tough. You could go away to Leeds, as you said just before the stream, and have a really hard game, or you could play a top 6 side and have a hard game. Everyone is an opponent and can compete in this league. But just looking at these first 6 games, we've got 3 top 6 sides to play in the first 6 games. That's 50% of our games in the first 2 months of the season are going to be against top 6 sides, which is tough. That is going to be tough.
There's only 2, Josh.
I forgot. Poor Arsenal. Poor Arsenal. Well, big games. Let's say big games. We've got 3 huge games, and they're going to be so important, especially for this new manager. If it is going to be Fonseca coming in, he's going to have a tough start. That's all I can say.
You can just imagine if it's Man City at home and we lose that, the fans are going to be on his back right away, and that's not fair because Man City at home is a difficult game for any team.
Bro, what have I missed?
And again, maybe that's the best time to catch them. Didn't we play them second game a few years back and it was 2-2? I know they battered us, but maybe they might get on the rough. They started this season slow, and then they pick up around Christmas time and they went on that amazing run. So maybe that's a good time to get them. Conversely, if we do beat them, everyone's going to be saying we're going to win the league.
Yeah. What a time for a new manager to come in, though, Gareth, isn't it? And then play Manchester City at home. Your first Premier League fixture, Manchester City at home.
Oh my God! Sorry, I've missed everything. Please fill me in.
Gary, right, let's come to you. Manchester City at home, opening day of the Premier League season. Then we have Wolves away, Watford at home. Then in September, Crystal Palace away, and then we've got Chelsea and Arsenal. How you feeling, Gary?
I think it's good though. I think let's kick off with Man City. I think that's a good fixture. I think that's a good fixture. When's the first game against Woolwich?
The game
25th.
Yeah, the first fixture against Woolwich.
We've got Chelsea at home on the 18th of September.
Sorry, it must be shocking so early.
Chelsea at home on the 18th of September, Gary, and then the week later, Arsenal away.
He's having a nightmare.
18th September.
Josh, let's come to you. Now, let's talk about the new manager.
He keeps cutting out. Is this happening on purpose? You're teasing me with it. Just keep
it's
rolling.
like Tottenham season, Gary.
There's nothing I can do.
Your internet is like Tottenham season of the 2020-21.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds.
Josh, let's come to you.
You mentioned Woolwich,
Now,
it cuts out.
Yeah. Josh, let's come to you. We all know that Paulo Fonseca will be the next Tottenham Hotspur manager. It's just a case now of Tottenham Hotspur officially announcing it. What do you make of this appointment? And particularly now, the opening day fixtures for the Premier League. What do you make of this appointment?
Look, I think, as Gareth said right before the stream, it does lack a bit of ambition. But Daniel Levy's obviously played a bit of a different card, appointing a new sporting director with Paratici. I think he's going to have quite a big influence. I think although it lacks ambition, I think we are trying to move in a different way, obviously with a different direction, as Daniel Levy kind of said in his video that was on the Tottenham page the other day. But yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, we're used to big managers in the past kind of 6 years. We've had Pochettino and then Jose Mourinho, and we've kind of stepped down. We've had a big step down, going down to someone like Fonseca, someone who not many fans know as a manager. But then on the other hand, you could argue, as we said the other night, Chris, Pochettino was not a known manager, and he was turned into a great manager. So hopefully, I think we do have to just back this manager. I'm not overly happy as a fan. It's not a big name like Conte or obviously Pochettino coming back. But at the end of the day, we're just going to have to back this guy, and it may be a tough start, but it's going to be a tough job for him, to be quite honest. But what do you think, Chris?
Do you know what, Josh? What I think is Pochettino in the Champions League, Jose Mourinho in the Europa League, and Paulo Fonseca in the Europa Conference League. We need to get back to being back in that Champions League spot. So whoever comes in for me, I completely agree with you. I've said this a million times and I'll always say it. Whoever manages Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, I'll be 100% behind them and support them. But it's all in the backing now. It's all how he's going to be back this summer with Paratici coming in. I think it's a very interesting appointment. Hopefully he can get some deals over the line. Hopefully, we can get offload some players as well. It's a big summer ahead for us. We're talking about the next Premier League season today because, of course, the fixtures have just come out. But so much needs to happen in these next 2 months. And as Gareth said, we don't even know. Sorry, Gareth.
See what you were saying there, Josh, about Pochettino. When he came in, he was a manager on the up, I think, and he was he'd done well at Southampton. We didn't appoint Pochettino on the back of what he did at Espanyol. He did well at Espanyol, but he wouldn't have got the job unless he went to Southampton. I look at Fonseca's record, and you look at the Roma job, like it was a disaster. He didn't do anything at Roma. So that's what the more underwhelming. If he'd done well at Roma, you could possibly get behind him more. And even if they had identified him as the number one target 2 months ago, I would have said, you know what, at least they have a plan. It just looks like they've ran out of ideas and they've just got him on. And then, although, as we said, you could look at it with a appointment, you could go, yeah, they're going down a different route with a sporting director, and but then I look at it, and Levy's under that much pressure. He's giving him control, so if it goes wrong, well, it was Paratici's fault. He got the manager on, he signed the players. So I do think there's a bit of that on it too, that Levy's under that much pressure. He's looking for somebody else to take the spotlight if this goes wrong. That's just how I feel, and it's awful that we feel like that, but it's just because there's no plan.
Do you feel excited though, Gareth, about Paulo Fonseca coming in? Is there any excitement in you about this appointment?
Well, I've looked at I'll tell you what, the games could be exciting if you're a neutral, because I think these games are like a game of basketball. It's just one end of the other. You know, they concede a lorry load of goals and and he scores goals. So we could be in for some exciting football in terms of. But it mightn't be good to watch as a fan. But everybody else might be. Everyone was saying last year we were awful to watch. It could be all right about this year. Everyone could be watching us.
Gary, I know we've already spoken about Paulo Fonseca on previous videos, but you know, now you've had time to digest the idea of it. Are you feeling any more confident?
Oh, you just got to go with it now, innit? It is what it is. I mean, you've gone from a £15 million a year manager, £2 million a year manager, but I know everyone is comparing it to when Pochettino came in. Oh, you know, blah blah blah. But they're two very different managers. I mean. It's what we've got. We've just got to go with it at the end of the day. You know, his first few games will probably be like my Wi-Fi this morning. Not very convincing.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, you've just got to stick with it and just ride the wave. And he might surprise us. Listen, if we won the Europa Conference Trophy and got in the top 4, it'd be a great season. Will it happen? I don't know.
I hope it surprises me.
When you're teased with managers like Conte and then you end up with Fonseca, I mean, the only saving grace really is we've got Fabio in, so that might be a good thing, you know what I mean? So, but we will just have to see. He might surprise us all, you know. So yeah.
All the signings that Paratici don't know, they were like some good ones, but they were all massive wages. You know, free transfers. You know, we aren't going to pay them kind of wages, so he's on there to find Italian gems. You know. Players only up from Italian. It's going to cost low level money, and we can obviously turn them into superstars and sell them on for big money. And that's just the reality of it, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the Premier League fixtures because I've now got all of the opening day fixtures for the new season. Brentford will play Arsenal at home. Burnley against Brighton. Chelsea against Crystal Palace. Everton against Southampton. Leicester City will play Wolves. Manchester United will play Leeds United. Newcastle will play West Ham, Norwich v Liverpool, Watford v Aston Villa, and then of course our big game, Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City.
Leeds United, who's home in that game? Leeds United?
Manchester United are at home.
Oh, it's an absolute cracker to start that.
Great game.
That's a good game.
That'll be the first Super Sunday. It'll be Leeds United, and then it'll be Spurs Man City.
Gareth, for you, what do Tottenham need to do, next season? Is it just getting back into that top 4 spot? Do we play Champions League again?
Massively. Although that might seem a bit unrealistic in terms of getting back into the top 4 after where we finished last year. But if you look at the league table, there's not a lot of points to be made up. So there's every possibility we could get back in, but you just wonder if we don't strengthen the squad, I don't think we're going to get any closer. I think we're more likely to fall away. So we need to get 3 or 4 players on, and they don't even have to be superstar players. Just to refresh the squad. I'd like to see Skip get a chance in midfield. Maybe not as our number 1 midfielder, but at least in the Conference League, he should be playing. There's going to be a lot of games because this Conference League is going to require loads of games if we're going to want it. We'll still have the cup competition, so we're going to have a big enough squad to rotate players. We were linked with that forward. It's Stuttgart, Gonzalez, but it looks like he's going to Brighton. I was reading this morning, so we're obviously on the look for another striker. I don't think Vinicius is going to be kept on, so that's going to be a priority area. Centre backs, obviously, are very. We've heard before from Alistair Gold. That's an area they're really looking at, the left-sided defender, and obviously new right back. If Foyer moves on, which looks likely, but the worrying thing is how much are we going to get for some of these players. You know, we signed Oyer for 17 million or 18 million, but he's probably only worth about maybe 10 now. You look at Winks, he was worth about, I think Man City were going to be paying 40 million for him 2 seasons ago. Be lucky to get half of that now. You know, how much are we going to have to reinvest into the squad? Because as you say with Daniel Levy, that we're a self-sustaining club. There's not going to be an injection of cash. It's going to be sell to buy. And that's the worrying thing. How much are we going to be able to generate?
We're now joined by Dave from the Irish Hotspur. Dave, good morning to you. I don't know whether you've seen the fixtures. Manchester City at home on the opening day of the Premier League season, then followed by Wolves away, Watford at home, Crystal Palace away, and then Chelsea at home, Arsenal away. Your thoughts on that?
It's not exactly been kind to us, has it, Chris? Hasn't been kind. Look, City at home. In a way, you could probably get that out of the way the first game of the season. First game, you never know really who's going to show up, do you? What team's going to show up. So first, look, although it's nice to get off to a win, it's probably in hindsight could be a blessing in disguise to get that out of the way. And look, playing City first game of the season. Look, we could end up winning it because they might have players that go deep into the Euros. So that could end up helping us out there. Wolves away straight after that. Look, can be a bit of a bogey team for us at times. So it's not kind to us, Chris. It's not kind to us.
Dave, what are your thoughts on Paulo Fonseca? Because of course, we all know it's happening. It's just a matter now of Tottenham Hotspur announcing it. Do you feel excited by this appointment?
Look, for me, it's very underwhelming, Chris. But I think what makes it more underwhelming is the fact that we were linked with Poch and Conte. Look, ultimately, we have to give the guy a chance. We have to see what he can come in and do. The sporting director's there. Hopefully, we can get a few players in this summer, get a few players out. And look, we can just see what he can do. He supposedly he plays a nice brand of football, a bit of attacking football, but there's questions over his defensive side of the game, and that's our biggest problem. So if we are going to go into this season playing the Fonseca way, we do need to tighten up that defence.
Josh, let's come to you. How excited are you feeling for the new Premier League season? As I said, it's 2 months away. It's a huge 2 months for Spurs, isn't it? In what we do, players coming in, players going out the door.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even though it hasn't been a good season, as you could say last year, I'm really excited, as every other Spurs fan will be. I'm really excited to see the fans back in the stadium. More about that than actually watching the football, to be quite honest. I think that's so important, as we saw last night in the Hungary-Portugal game at the European Championships. Having a full stadium just brings such a different element to the game. And I think the Premier League especially, it needs full stadiums. It needs fans behind the game to create an intensity, to create an exciting atmosphere so the players on the pitch can actually deliver. I think that's almost impacted us. I think although it's a bit of a weak argument, I think it has impacted Tottenham because we've got great fans, and I think the fans, when they back the players, we can achieve anything. And if I remember specifically, like the Manchester City game at home in the Champions League, when we beat them 1-0 when we got to the final. That game, the fans coming back, I think that was our first Champions League game in the new stadium. And it was huge. And the fans got behind the team. And the roar was insane. And obviously Sonny got that goal and we defeated Man City. But I think this season, there's going to be some loud crowds. And it's going to change the whole aspect of the Premier League. I think the game's going to be more intense after. I think last year, a lot of the football was even, you could argue it was boring. There was a lot of games that were just lackluster, had no kind of energy. It was tough to watch some of those games, not excluding Spurs. So yeah, get the fans back in the stadium. Let's have an exciting season, and hopefully we can have something positive.
Yeah, Gareth, Josh is absolutely right there, isn't he, about the fans, being in the stadiums? Because of course, someone like myself, I go to every game. And I've really, really missed it. I've been to a few games, where there's been a couple of thousand fans this season. But I personally cannot wait to be back. And I'm sure the players on the pitch can't wait to see the stadiums, full up again. Because that game on the 14th of August, Manchester City home, for a full Tottenham Hotspur stadium, it would be an incredible atmosphere once again, won't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and see, to be fair, for how good Man City are, we've beat them 3 times out of 3 at the Spurs Stadium as well. So, they're going to be coming there knowing that in their head it's the same. They're not going to have too much of a change in their squad. It's going to be the same kind of players. They might add a couple. So they'll have that in the back of their head. And obviously, us being our home first game, hopefully a full stadium. It'll still not be easy. Man City be looking at that as a difficult game. We're a bit, negative about it, but when that day comes, we'll be buzzing for it. We'll obviously be doing shows and lead up to the game. And Spurs away is no easy game, so we have to look at it the other way as well. And I'll be confident going into the game no matter what I've said. You know what I mean? We are capable of beating Man City. We've showed it, even when we've been at our weakest in the last couple of years, or especially this season anyway. And then they've been strong. We've been able to beat them. So it's one game, and if we get off to a good start, everyone will be chanting Fonseca's name, and then we'll go to Wolves away. And if we won that, who knows? It's fun. It's a funny game. Football can go. I can go 2 different ways.
Are you calling him the Fonz yet, Gareth?
do you know what? I keep calling him Finesca, like it's a Spanish nightclub or something. I keep getting lost. It's Fonseca. That's not what they call him, the Fon. You know what? If he wins games, we'll be happy. And as you said, the only thing that it might, if we do lose games, they might be entertaining, and the fans might enjoy watching them. So maybe that's the way they're going. But remember when I said about Graham Potter, everyone was saying, "Oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Funny enough, when everyone was talking about Fonseca getting announced, and everyone saying, "I wish it was Graham Potter." So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary, let's come to you. Are you excited to get back into the stadiums next season? Gary, are you that excited?
He's packing my eating his sweets, is he?
Dave, let's come to you. Dave, let's come to you. Now, we talk about players heading out the door. We talk about new players coming in. What do Tottenham need to do this summer? Because it is a huge summer ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive, especially since they brought in this structure now. We're bringing in Paratici, and having Fonseca there as well as the manager. Look, for me, we have to improve the defence. We have to improve the defence. If you're bringing in this guy and you're bringing him in to play the Tottenham way, basically, because this guy is more along the lines of what Levy came out and said he wanted. So for me, you have to improve the defence for this guy. There's no point in bringing him in to play the Tottenham way and stuff like that if you're not going to have the defence. So you have to bring in at least. Me, I would like to see them bring in 2 centre backs, because if he does go with his 3 centre backs, I think we're going to need 2. You can get away with playing Toby in there. I think Toby is a crucial asset to him because of his passing range out from the back.
Dave, you know that right back that plays for Holland, that Denzel Dumfries, he looks like a real quality asset. He looks like a brilliant player. He looks like he would suit our system well. Yeah,
Gareth, I was only saying that to someone yesterday, that if you could get him at right wing back, right? So the way Fonseca plays, he relies heavily on wing backs. Yeah. So with Reguilon, like we seen last season, that guy loves getting into the box, loves getting on the end of things. Now, if you can replicate that on the right-hand side with Dumfries, it's going to be a nightmare for teams. It's going to be a nightmare for teams. But now I know you're going to call me crazy, but that's also what Doherty was good at Wolves when we signed him playing from that right wing back position. Just maybe.
He hasn't got the legs.
Just maybe we can get him to do that, replicate that down the right-hand side. Just maybe. Call me crazy, it might not work, but who knows? But yeah, if we could get someone down the right-hand side of that, we're going to be a threat next season. Or this season even. This season coming out of fixtures, I can't wait. And Chris, you said Arsenal are in there somewhere.
September.
Yeah, Dave, I know we've spoken at length about this before, about players possibly heading out the door. Realistically, what players do you see leaving this summer?
I could see Dyer probably on his way out. Look, me personally, I'd hope Winks. I'm not sure how they feel on that. Fonseca might want to keep him. Who knows? I definitely think you could see Aurier. I think 100% will be out the door. Look, you've already seen rumours with him linked to a club.
He wants to go, so there's no point keeping him. Even if it's not the right money, there's no point keeping a player who doesn't want to be here.
No. Yeah. And Sissoko, but I'm not 100% convinced he's going to go. Chris. There's a year on that contract we can trigger, and if Fonseca wants to keep him, I think we will keep Sissoko. But I'm going to say, we could end up selling Ben Davies yet, because if we bring Sessegnon back, he can play left wing back as well. So there's your 2 left wing backs. That does free up Sessegnon in a way to or that does free up Davies in a way to sell him and generate cash. And if we're selling to buy, it's a perfect place to start, get a few million. But look, realistically, I think you might see 3 or 4 out, maybe 3 or 4 in, but I wouldn't be expecting world-class players in. I'd be expecting, players that, like someone like Dumfries, players like that. They're not world-class, but they'll come in and do a job.
Dave, why is it everyone seems to think that Sessegnon's coming back and getting straight into the team? Same with Oliver Skipp. I know both of them individually have had fantastic seasons at Hoffenheim and Norwich City, but what makes them come straight back into the Spurs team?
Purely because of some of the performances that were put in last season, Chris. By some of this team. It probably could do with the likes, especially the midfield, could do with someone like Skipp chomping at the bit to try and take their jersey, because it might actually encourage them to start doing better and get more out of them. With Sessegnon, look, I'm just coming back saying he's going to come straight back in the team because I'm not a fan of Ben Davies. And with Fonseca's formation, the only way Davies is fitting in is if he plays left-sided centre-back or on the left side of the tree. That's the only way he's going to fit in. Now, of course, look, he's playing there for Wales. He could end up staying and keeping him for a left-footed centre-back. But there's no guarantee they're going to come in, Chris. But for me, I think it's no harm in having players that, are just on the verge of being ready to play, but also hungry to play. And I think it'll do the squad the world of good to have that competition.
See with Sessegnon, see when he was at Fulham, right? You just see it's the same reason I wanted Dumfries when I watched them the other night. They just drive at defenders, they just run at them. And Sessegnon, when he was at Fulham, he did that all the time. But when he came on the Ulster, he wasn't doing that. It was after his confidence was gone. Reguilón last year started off doing that. Remember that goal cross against West Ham? He was driving at players, crossing the ball. Towards the end of the season, Reguilón was cutting inside, going backwards. So it's confidence, I suppose. But I look at player. If we're going to play with the back three and two wing backs, we need two wing backs that's going to drive at players because that's our wolf. There's no point having Doherty comes inside a lot. Davis, I watched him get already for Wales. Every cross he hit went out for a goal kick. Absolutely dreadful. He's well past his best. Needs to move on. He's not at the level that we're at anymore. He's been a great servant, but it's time to move on. And it's the same with the likes of Winks and Sissoko. They've been here a long time, and it's time. It's we're turning the arsenal now. We're giving these players loyalty cards and just stay as long as they want. We need to get them out the door.
Do you know what though, Gareth? A lot of these players, I think, have such cushy roles at Spurs. They've got excellent.
They're not going to. Sissoko's on 90,000 a week.
They're paid very well as well. Exactly. So why would some of them want to leave? That's the problem. Trying to offload some of these players, I think, is going to be a problem. And that's why Paratici, I think, has come in to help Daniel Levy do that job. Gareth, I know you've got to go in a couple of minutes. Give me your thoughts on players perhaps coming in, realistic targets this summer.
Well, see on the problem as well. If we don't get some of these players out, it was evident last year when we heard about the broken dressing room. These players are causing problems behind the scenes. Like the likes of Aurier, the likes of the players that aren't playing, and they don't want to leave, but they're happy to sit and take a wage. That's the issue. That we need a dressing room that's fighting on the same front. And I think the likes of Skip and Sessegnon coming in, hungry players, will encourage that. So if we can get some of these older players that have been here a long time out and don't have the best attitude, that's going to be the best way forward. On players coming in, I'd like to see Dumfries. I know we were linked with him before a long time ago, but I haven't seen anything recently. But if he has a good campaign for Euros, that's going to rocket his price. And there's going to be other teams looking at him. I like Aarons at Norwich, Lamptey at Brighton, but again, they're going to be costing 25-30 million. And I think, to be honest, there's a deal to be done with Norwich. If you wanted to get Aarons, you could give him Skip. But I think Skip's a player that Spurs fans are going to love him. I think the club rate him very, very highly. So, Norwich could be very tricky to deal with in terms of getting Aarons. Strikers, I'd love to see Ollie Watkins come on as a backup to Harry Kane. I think he's a top striker. But again, he would cost a lot of money. So it's difficult to see how we're going to get some of these players on. I said before, like Rafinha at Leeds. He's an R title player. Like he's very tricky. He can beat a man. He's fast. But again, we're probably going to be looking. We're going to be looking at the Italian league, and we're going to see a lot of players coming in from there. I think. I watched Skriniar for Slovakia the other day, and we were linked with him last summer. He looks a top centre back. If we could possibly get him on, but it's the first summer, Chris. I don't know what kind of players we're looking at anymore. It's hard because it's all very fresh with Paratici. But every player I've seen is linked with so far is the Italian league. Seem to be looking at a couple of Inter players, don't we?
That's always going to happen. I wouldn't read too much into that. Look, you could get a manager in from Czech Republic. Be linked with a load of players from Czech Republic league.
Yeah,
honestly, that striker for Czech Republic, Czech. He looks good.
Gareth, I know you've got to go, Gareth. So just give me your prediction on who will win the Euros.
Oh, I said at the start, Belgium. I think this is their time. But if I had to pick an outsider, it would be Italy. I said that at the start. I think Italy's going to have a strong campaign. But Belgium for me. I don't know how you feel about England, but it looks like a tough path to the final.
We're certainly coming on to that. We'll certainly come on to that. Gareth, just tell everyone where they can find you on YouTube.
I'm at the 12th man. My name's at the end of it, Gareth McGuinness, because there's a couple of boys trying to copy me now. So They're all going with the 12.
I can vouch for that. It's a good show.
Gary's on a couple of times.
My
So to get a
Wi-Fi
couple.
didn't disappear on that one, so it was
No,
good.
you're not on that
So
one.
late, I'm gonna have to watch back like a viewer because I've missed the whole bloody
I'll
thing.
probably do a show some point this week about the fixture, so I'll give you a shout, Gary. About
Yeah,
doing
nice
something.
one, mate. Always welcome.
Get a few
Yeah,
Liverpool
nice one.
fans on and a couple of United fans to see what they feel about it. But hey lads, enjoy the rest of the Euros. I'm sure we'll catch up over the summer again.
Nice one,
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers,
Lads,
mate.
all right, thanks now.
See ya.
Cheers. Josh, let's come to you. Talking about players possibly heading out the door. Realistically, who do you see leaving Spurs this summer?
Well, I think we can all see Aurier going. He's obviously been linked with a move away. Talks of like 20 million being paid for him. I think that's a bit unrealistic. I don't think anyone's paying 20 mil for Aurier. But yeah, I can see him going. I've seen reports of Sissoko going on loan to Napoli in Italy. That might be able to be done because of obviously Paratici and his Italian connections, as we just said. We could see Dyer going to work with Mourinho at Roma. We could see Mora going to Saudi Arabia, or even going back to work with Jose at Roma. Because obviously, I think Lucas Moura and Jose got on quite well. They obviously speak the same language, Portuguese. Same with Eric Dyer. Sad to say it, we could see Harry Kane leaving to Man City, and what a situation that would be if Harry Kane has to play us on the first day of the season in a Man City shirt. That would be heartbreaking. It really would. And I'm sure the media will be absolutely lapping this up. First game of the season, they're going to be pushing so hard for Kane to leave. Like Sky Sports are going to be tweeting all these things about Kane going to Man City.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't want to see Harry in any other shirt or any other Premier League team. He's a Spurs boy, and us Spurs fans appreciate him so much. And I think that was. I'm sure we'll come on to it, but I think that is kind of shown a lot by the media and their reaction to Harry Kane's first game for England compared to the fans of Tottenham and how we treat him. It's quite shocking, I think.
Josh, what did you make of Daniel Levy's short interview with the Spurs media staff? Because when he was asked a question about Harry Kane leaving, what's your hunch from Daniel Levy's reply? Do you think that Harry Kane's going to be sold this summer or not?
I'm really mixed about it, Chris. I've got like a half of me saying, yeah, it's his time to go. I think Kane's going to push for a move. But then the other half is saying he's got 3 years left on his contract. The club holds all the cards. It's not really up to Harry. It's up to the club. So yeah, I really don't know. If City come in with a huge bid, then I think Daniel Levy's going to accept it. I think that, as he said, with the financial situation, with coronavirus impacting the club so significantly, we've got like £200 million lost revenue. If we can make up all that money, as someone made a parody of Daniel Levy's interview, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but someone's like done like a cut of it, and he's just talking about money and the financial situation and how much he cares about money. It was quite funny. But yeah, if City come along and bid 150 million, do you think Daniel Levy's going to say no? That could give such a huge cash injection for this new rebuild. And although we may lose our best player, our absolute star player, world class, best striker in the world, I don't know. I don't know what Daniel Levy's going to do, but I'm sure we'll see. We'll see before August the 14th. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think Kane's going to go now or stay, or with Fonseca coming in first game of the season, could that actually persuade Harry Kane? He might get some like cold feet and think, oh, I don't want to play Tottenham on the first game.
That's a very interesting point, Josh, because of course, Dave, let's come to you on that question, that same question. After seeing Daniel Levy's short interview, how did you feel about it? Do you think Harry Kane will be sold? And of course, as Josh just said, Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, opening day of the season. I remember when Teddy Sheringham left, very similar thing happened. Teddy Sheringham come back with Manchester United, missed a penalty at White Hart Lane. Could this happen to Harry Kane?
Look, listening to the interview, I think he would have just came out and said there and then if there was no hope of him selling Kane. The fact that he's left the door open, and it's kind of like, we'll do what's in the best interest of Tottenham Football Club. I think he'll sell him. I think if the right money comes in, I think he'll sell him. And it's to rebuild the squad. I hope it's to rebuild the squad. I hope it's not going into the new Levy land that they got planning permission for. But I think he is going to sell. Like I said, if not, why didn't he close the door? He didn't close the door. He left it open. And for me, I do think he'll sell. But look, like Kane, look, Fonseca, is he a manager that could persuade Kane to stay? Probably not as well. So, you know, Kane's probably just a bit underwhelmed with what's going on right now, just like fans, I suppose. And yeah, I think he will be. I think he will be sold, and I think that's where the money's going to come from to be able to rebuild this squad. Like. Look, he told you the answers. The money's not going to come from anywhere else. Enix's not going to put their hand in the pocket. He said we're still to stay and run the club, and he's very proud of that. And for me, that's where the money's going to come from to rebuild the squad. We lost 200 million over the pandemic, like you said, you know, non-recoverable. So the money's going to have to come from somewhere to rebuild the squad, and I think it's going to have to come from the Kane sales, because, being honest, if we had Conte there, if we brought in Conte, I would say, okay, yeah, maybe there's money there. But the fact that we didn't bring in Conte more purely because of the money aspect. And look, I know Levy came out and said you should never believe, you know, what's in the papers, and you should wait till we announce it. But at the same time, he didn't exactly dispel the rumours when the season tickets were up for renewal either. You know, so I take that with a pinch of salt. But if Conte was coming in, you would say, okay, there's money there. But the fact that we stayed away from Conte, you know, we're bringing in Paratici to kind of protect the club in a way, so that there's no more of these big players coming in, players that are no longer good enough. Because the way Paratici would be, you know, the way the structure is going to work is regardless of it's not going to be a manager anymore, it's head coach. So regardless of who the head coach is, Paratici is there designed to bring in players to take the long-term future of the club. So basically, he's going to have, you know, Paratici can come to him and say, look, I need a right wing back in this sort of mode. And this is my preferred target. But what Paratici will do is put 4 or 5 targets together, pick the best one, and go to Daniel Levy and get it signed off. So for me, it's the money's going to have to come from somewhere for Paratici to be able to do his job. And I just think it will have to be the Kane transfer.
Yeah, Dave, we're going to stay with you for a second. Alex, our good friend Alex, writes on screen now. Ben Davies is staying. He's a good defender. Sessegnon is a doubt next season. Your thoughts on that?
First of all, Alex, it's 9:15, man. It's 9:15. Give me a break. I'm not in the mood for this today. Honestly, this guy here, right? I love him, but he must have a Ben Davies radar, because as soon as someone mentions his name, you know, he's straight in there like lightning. But no, what he says, look, with Ben Davies, he's a left back. He's not going to fit into a left wing back. And like I said, the only chance of him probably getting into a Fonseca team for me will be left-sided centre back of the tree. You know, Fonseca might want to keep him around. Look, one thing he's a good pro. You know what I mean? He's a good pro. He's a good professional. He's kind of happy to take a backward seat in proceedings. But again, that's probably too much of the problem. There's probably too many players. With Ben Davies, look, I get it, Alex. He's the same last name as you. But look, honestly, for me, I'm just saying, because we have Sessegnon, if we are going to this new way of playing wing backs, you know, Ben Davies is not going to fit the mold. Session's coming back, and we already have Regulon. It just frees Ben Davies up for some easy cash, because clubs will buy Ben Davies. Clubs will actually take Ben Davies. So, just my opinion is, it just frees up a bit of cash for us. That's all, Alex. But it's only 9:15. I haven't had a coffee yet, Alex. Give me a break.
Love it. Gary, if you can you hear me all right, Gary? Yeah,
I can hear you, mate. But do you know what? This show today has been a bit like Tottenham season. My Wi-Fi. It was like it's the second half of the season after December. I've gone through 3 different phones. I've gone from the first floor to the third, back down, and now I'm in the games room, and I still don't really know much of the fixtures.
Well, we've got Manchester City at home, Gary.
Being a Spurs fan, basically, nothing to do. That's it.
Gary, I will read them out again in a second. Just wanted your thoughts on, last week, or the weekend actually, we saw Daniel Levy release this short video from the Spurs media team answering questions. What did you make of that interview?
It's just, very staged. He's going to give the answers he's going to give. You're never going to get an honest answer out of Daniel Levy. He's going to make his excuses and talk about the stadium and all that. We're always, you hear it all the time with the bridesmaid. We're always, if we went 5 mil more, we could have had Grealish, we could have had. And it's the same thing this season. You know, we could have had Conte, we got Fonseca. We're just the nearly, the is, the could have been. It is what it is being a Spurs fan. So it goes in one ear and out the other with Daniel Levy. Look, you know, it's not all bad with Daniel Levy. Yes, we've got an amazing stadium, you know, but he needs to take a step back, deal with the stadium, the business side of it. Let Fabio deal with the players and stuff, and let's see what we can do. But there's so many players, you know, chucking around, plays in and plays out. Half of it ain't going to happen, Chris. We get it every season. You know, the reality of it is we don't have the money, and we don't really have the ambition, and it's a tough thing to take. But we spoke about this on your last show. If it was a bit braver and a bit more like Chelsea and be a bit more ruthless, you know, maybe we would have got Conte. And I know there'll be pros and cons of him, but ultimately we've got to go with Fonseca. Let's see how the season goes. He might surprise us, but with Daniel Levy's interview.
Oh no,
He's gone again.
Gone.
Dave, I think I said this comment before you joined us on the stream. You know, Pochettino in the Champions League, Jose Mourinho in the Europa League, and now Paulo Fonseca in the Europa Conference League. Now, whatever people think of Daniel Levy in the board, you know, that he clearly said, Daniel Levy, that, you know, we're in a position where we don't want to be. You know, 2 years ago, we were in the Champions League final, and now we're going to be playing Europa Conference League football. All of us fans, the board, everyone connected to Spurs, we don't want to be where we are at the moment. So this, you know, or next season is a huge season, isn't it? You know, Fonseca or whoever comes in as Tottenham Hotspur boss, this is a huge season to get Tottenham back to where we need to be.
Yeah, look, it's absolutely massive. I think it's the time that Daniel Levy has with the fans, especially with what's going on with the managers linked in around the season ticket renewals. I'll speak to people. There's a lot of people pissed off at that. But the thing is with Daniel Levy and the board, it's all well and good coming out and saying the right things. But back it up. Back it up. Now, they did say there's going to be money there this summer, that they will spend a bit of money. He did say that in the interview when he was asked about transfers. So hopefully he lives up to his word. But it's all about backing it up, though, Chris. You know, we could see the squad declining. You know, this summer is going to be huge. With Fonseca, he's underwhelming. So I don't think he's going to get as much when things go wrong, or if things go wrong. He's not going to get as much chance as maybe, like, you know, Pochettino got, Mourinho got, managers before him have got. Purely because, I'll be honest with you, it's a name I had to Google. I didn't know anything about the guy. But it's important we back it. We have to back it. But if us fans are going to get behind it, he has to be back from the board as well. Like I said before, there's no point in bringing in a guy, like we've done it with Mourinho and that. There's no point in bringing in a guy with a philosophy and a style of play and not back him with the players that he needs to be able to get that style of play and get it working on the pitch. So this season's absolutely huge. Fans are not going to accept another mediocre season. It's the highest paid season ticket in Europe. I don't think the season ticket fans will accept it. The season ticket fans will always accept it a bit longer than most fans. Like, but I don't think even season ticket fans will accept it. You know, because they're paying a lot of money to go to that stadium and see that. So I don't think they're going to accept it. But it's huge in terms of we need to bounce back straight away. It's huge in terms of revenue this season. It's important we make as much revenue as we can this season. It's important in terms of pull towards having players, getting more players in, being able to take advantage of the transfer market next summer. You know, it's important that, you know, for the whole new structure that was put in place, that works. So it's absolutely massive right across the board for everybody, for fans, for players, for the new system put in, and for the stadium. You know, that stadium needs to be paid off. So, you know, it's reliant on the likes, obviously concerts and that coming in, but it's also reliant on fans going to the games, spending money in and around the stadium, because I think they put in over 1 million match day revenue per game. So that'd be nice to get. But no, it's absolutely crucial next season that we have a good season on the field, because especially with fans in the stadium as well, that's going to be massive. That's going to be huge, because it's not going to. my opinion is there's a lot bubbling under the surface, and I don't think it's going to take too much to go wrong for fans to make their voices heard. So for me, it's important that we get off to a good start. But it's important we have a good season, like I said. Not many of us would be able to sit here and take what we went through last season. Let's be honest with it. I don't think any of us here would be able to sit here and take what went on last season. Last season was an anomaly compared to seasons gone by, compared to seasons gone by for us and what we're used to. But we just want to get back to what we're used to. We have to get back to what we're used to. At the end of the day, we're a football club first. The aim of a football club is to compete and win trophies. And look, if Levy can back him this summer, Partici can bring in the guys, and Fonseca can get them playing nice football, but then it's a master stroke by Levy and the board. And if not, we'll wait and see. But we have to have a good season, especially just for my own mental health too. It'll be nice.
My mental health has crashed today on this Wi-Fi show, mate. I'm gonna have a breakdown. I'm in the garden now.
You'd be a great advert for an internet company, you know. Well, if you don't want Wi-Fi like this, buy this Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi connection. What would we call it? Spursy.
Well, Gary, Sandy writes, is Gary on MTV Cribs? Because we've been in every room and now we're in the garden.
Let me show you the garden. I don't know if I was trying to show you this, Chris. Can you see this by the hot tub? Look.
It's like an episode of Keith Lemon.
Can you see the side by the hot tub?
Through the keyhole.
Can you see that?
We can see the White Hart Lane sign, yeah.
Yeah, White Hart Lane needs to be renamed.
Top stuff. Gary, question on screen now. Can the panel please calculate how many players we need for a strong starting 11? For me, I think we need a right back. I think we need possibly, one or even two centre backs, a creative midfielder to replace Christian Eriksen that's still not been replaced. It'll be interesting whether Tongion Ndombele is a Tottenham Hotspur player next season. Harry Kane, of course. Yeah. How many players realistically for a strong starting 11 for you?
God, 11. Change the name of the club. Start again. Call it something else. Call it Tottenham Juniors. Start again. Get everyone out. The whole
Pick and Mix FC.
Pick and Mix FC. Start from the very beginning. Now, all seriousness, we probably need 6 out, 6 in, I suppose. But is that going to happen? I don't know. And if they do, we're not going to get any big signings. Let's be honest about it. I know we're talking about Skip coming in and stuff. And look, he's looked great, but it's one thing at Norwich. It's another thing, at Tottenham and stuff. I don't know. It's a really tough one. Me personally, I still think Kane's going to stay this season. I think he will stay. It'll be a France. Imagine this. It'll be a France-England final when Lloris will say, "Do you know what, Kane? I'll let a few in for you. Stay at Tottenham another year. Let's a few easy ones in for Harry Kane. We win the Euros, and everyone's a winner, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Just on players coming in. One thing I noticed last season is that we don't have that player like we used to have that can dictate the tempo of the game. So for instance, we had Michael Carrick who used to do it. We had Luka Modric who used to do it. Moussa Dembele used to do it at times. And we lacked that at times last year. It was very much, either gung-ho or sit back. There was no one there that could get on the ball, rotate the ball from left to right, speed it up when it's needed, slow it down when it's needed. And I genuinely think we're missing that midfielder who can dictate the tempo of the play. And I would like to see us go out and get someone like that in again, because it's crucial in a game like the Premier League. How many times did we lose positions from winning positions last year? We'd be 1-0 up and the team end up caving. And that's because we couldn't get a hold of the ball. We couldn't get a hold of the ball, and we didn't have someone, like I said, who can pick up the ball and dictate the tempo of the game, keep ball, put long balls in behind, slow it down, quicken it up. And we didn't have someone like that. I think signing someone like that will be crucial this summer. I'd like to sign someone like that, because you probably wouldn't drop as many points from winning positions if you did have someone like that.
Yeah.
Dave, I want to talk a little bit about Euro 2020. Of course, England won their opening game. I keep looking for Ireland's fixture, but I can't see one. Is it coming home for England? 55 years since we've won a major trophy. I talk about trophies about Spurs, but 55 years without a major trophy for England.
No, honestly, I thought you already had the engravers engraving the trophy. I thought it was already home, Chris. I thought you already won it. You bet Croatia 1-0. Look, in terms of Euros, I think it's going to be the same with England. I do think they're going to get out the groups. They're going to get into the knockout stages. they'll be knocked out before the final. They will be knocked out before the final.
Are you supporting England during the Euros, Dave?
Oh, Jesus, no. My father wouldn't let that happen, lad. My father wouldn't let that happen. No, I couldn't. It's the old enemy. It's the old enemy. Look, even though my ma's English, I can't do it. I cannot do it, Chris. I just can't. I'm just Irish true and true. It's not that I hate. It's not that I hate you or anything like that. It's just a good old-fashioned rivalry, and I'm supporting everybody else. Look, I don't even like the Welsh, so I'm not really supporting Wales either. I'd be more of a Scotland fan than this Euros, Chris, because they have that Celtic blood in them, you know, Celtic connection. So I'd have to go for them. Look, don't get me wrong. I would like to see England do well. You know, in a way, it's kind of heartbreaking to see all the you know, your faces every time you get knocked out of a competition. That's kind of heartbreaking. So look, I wouldn't begrudge us winning it, but I definitely have to go into hiding.
Do you know, Josh, let's come to you. Of course, the game on Friday, big one, England v Scotland. You know, of course, we all know what happened at Euro 96 with that Gaza goal.
Gaza.
How confident are you, Josh, that England, you know, could we go all the way this year?
It's going to be a tough one for England. I mean, it seems like we have improved. I think we've improved a lot, especially over the past like 5 or 6 years. Obviously, since like Rio in 2014, or like the Brazil World Cup in 2014, that was a disaster. Euro 2016 was a disaster, going out to Iceland with Roy Hodgson as our manager. But then the World Cup in 2018, that was I think you could say that was a huge success. And hopefully we can build off that. We've got a very talented team, a lot of talent. But it's at the end of the day, it's up to the manager. And if the manager makes like insane selections, then we're not gonna go anywhere. If he's not going to play Jack Grealish in behind Kane, then I said this to some of my friends. Kane is not going to score for England in this tournament if he's got no service. You could have the best striker in the world, and if you don't have the service to him, he's not going to have anything. He can't do everything himself. He literally, I can't think of many opportunities in that Croatia game where an England player actually passed it to Harry Kane and Harry Kane had a chance. That did happen once.
100% right. I think he'll start Grealish on Friday, though. I've got a feeling he will start Grealish on Friday, but without Grealish, there's just nothing in the midfield. It's just madness. But he always goes for the safe bet, Southgate, when he's I mean, look, Sterling scored, fair play to him. He does his usual goal where he scores and falls over. But he got the ball in the back of the net. But you always knew he was going to leave the likes of Rashford and Grealish out. But I think Friday going into the Scotland game where we've got the win, I think he'll be a little bit more kind of brave. And I do expect Grealish to start. But can I just say to Dave, Irish Hotspurs there, like I'm kind of a bit of everything because my mum is Scottish and my dad is Irish, and I was born in England. So I was on the phone to my mum the other day, and I was obviously cheering for Scotland. I wanted Scotland to win that, but obviously on Friday, you know, it reverts back to England. But I've got a bit of a whole mix, so it's a bit of a difficult one for me. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's got to be England. You know, I think the favourites are France, but I think England had a good chance. I mean, I think it's apart from the 16th round, I think every other game, if we get through, we're at Wembley, aren't we? So
yeah, I think
a lot. So we've got every chance that we can do it. You know, we could really go for it. But I think it's paramount. Grealish gets game time. That is a definite. He has to. You know, he has to.
I think if you look at the team selection that Garrett made against Croatia, he went with the tried and trusted. He went with players that were hurt in 2016 by them getting knocked out. I do think, you know, against Scotland, you probably will see the likes of Grealish and that come back in. I think the reason why he went with the tried and trusted in the first game is because, look, it's huge pressure. First game out, you know, England haven't won their first game in the group within like 10 attempts or something like that up until the big Croatia.
I don't think we've won our opening game ever, or I think it was 37 years or something.
It was the first time.
There you are. And then, you know, the fact that it's Wembley, it's at home, a lot of pressure. So it's a lot to ask some of these new players in there to come out and perform the way they did. And I look, me personally, when I looked at the lineup, I was like, what is he doing? But when I think about it, it's probably smart. Look, Sterling didn't have the best season as City, playing Trippier at left back. He just brought in the boys that were knocked out against Croatia in the World Cup, boys that had a point to prove, that were hurt, and also the tried and trusted and the experience to be able to handle the occasion. So, look, he got it spot on. My biggest criticism of Garrett is I genuinely thought he'd bottle team selection But look, he got it spot on against Croatia, and I'd be interested to see what he does against Scotland. I think he'd be missing a trick not to play him against Scotland. Scotland will be feisty. They're going to come out. They're going to kick England. And Jack Grealish being one of the most foul players in the Premier League, be perfect game to play in.
Yeah, but we can rip Scotland apart if they start the right team. Yeah. If you start Grealish, Sancho, Kane, you play Grealish as like I said as well, we can rip them apart on the counter. Yeah, but if we got no pace on the wings, then we're going to struggle, because we know that Scotland have got a lot of quality in players like Robertson on the wing. I think Tierney's injured. Obviously, he's an Arsenal player, but I think like Robertson and Tierney, they have got quality in that side. But at the end of the day, it's all up to Gareth Southgate. If he's going to play Kieran Trippier out position against more teams, I don't think that's going to work. We've got some great left backs from other clubs. I know it's quite, as a Spurs fan, it's quite tough to kind of like praise other players from other clubs. But when you've got your England hat on, someone like Luke Shaw or a Champions League winner in Ben Chilwell, I mean, what is he doing playing Trippier out of position when we've got some good left backs?
Decisions. I think it was to take free kicks, because they didn't bring James Ward-Prowse, and they don't really have an expert free kick there. Because do you think maybe he's put in there for the likes of winning free kicks and taking shots from free kicks and delivering it into the box from free kicks?
Yeah. Do you know what, Dave? I found an amazing stat last night when watching the France-Germany game. That only 3 out of those starting 22 players had not won a World Cup or a Champions League. It was just an incredible stat.
Wow.
Anyway, last question for you all. Josh, let's start with you. Score prediction for the Scotland game on Friday. Who do you think will win the Euros? And if you could take any player from any team, bring them to Tottenham, who would it be?
I think the score prediction for Friday, I think we're going to beat them 3-1, but Scotland will score first. And then I think we'll get 3 past them. I think the team that's going to win the Euros is going to be Portugal. I still think Portugal are going to win. I thought they showed great determination to get 3 goals against a very tough Hungary side. They really defended very well, and then they got over the line at the end with immense skill from Ronaldo. I mean, he still got it. God knows how old he is now. He's almost a granddad. But yeah, it's incredible. And the final question: if I could nick any player to play for Tottenham or England?
To play for Tottenham.
To play for Tottenham.
Who's playing in the Euros?
A really controversial one, but I'd go and nick Bruno Fernandes. I think we crave that centre attacking midfielder so much. And since Eriksen left, and we were linked with him, he was about to come to the club, and then he went to Man United, and we bottled it. So yeah, I'd take Bruno Fernandes. Just imagine that. Bruno Fernandes and Kane, or Grealish. Grealish and Kane, someone to feed Harry Kane. We haven't got that at Tottenham Hotspur, and we haven't got it for England either. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I'd be interested to see all of your answers.
Gary, what about you?
I think we'll beat Scotland 3-0 comfortably. I think, they got no real out-and-out striker. It will be too strong for them. Grealish will start, will play. Kane will get, Kane's a bit like when he starts Tottenham, never gets goals straight off, and people start doubting him and that. He'll get, he's going to be top goal scorer. There's no doubt about that. Kane will be. So 3-0, nice and easy. Obviously, we'll ring me mum afterwards and rub it in, because you have to, And if I could bring any player, I think just looking at Mbappe's sprint he just left that player for dust, mate. And to me, I thought it was a penalty, but the acceleration that he had, I could just imagine if he was at Tottenham, that'd be something else, because he's a great player. I know that goal was marginally offside, but the skill and control and the goal that he done, I mean, it deserved to be onside, didn't it? So for me, Mbappe, he is just amazing, mate. Absolutely joy to watch, brilliant.
What about winning the Euros, Gary?
Well, you know what? I've said from the start the favourites will be France. I still believe that, but you never know. We're literally at home for most of the games, like I said. So who knows, mate? A bit of VAR, a bit of luck. Foden's looking good. Grealish gets a bit of game time. There's no reason why we can't do it. Let's bring it home.
Dave, what about you?
Yeah, look, for me, I definitely think England's going to beat Scotland. Look, Scotland are going to be up for it. It's going to be their cup final, to be honest. If they turn England over and get knocked out, that's all they care about. But I don't think England have enough in the tank. I think you'll probably see England beat them 2-0, maybe 2-1. In terms of the Euros, who I think is going to win the Euros, I do think I'm going to stick with my original prediction. Portugal. I think they've got a great squad, but not only that, they have Ronaldo, Pepe, Fonte, experienced players that will have the nous and the know-how to negotiate the tournament. They're involved last time Portugal won it, and I just can't look beyond them. You look with Portugal, you can sit men behind the ball, you can come out and attack them. They can play either, it suits them. So it'll be very interesting to see whether they can live up to it or not. A lot of people were saying, with the centre-backs, some of the centre-backs they brought, they're very old there. Look, you have the best centre-back in the Premier League, Ruben Diaz, and an old experienced in Wiley Head. What more do you want? It's perfect partnership for the Euros. And in terms of a player that I'd bring in to Tottenham, look, I obviously I'd love Mbappe. But look, if I'm going to if I'm putting my Tottenham hat on, I think Jack Grealish should be perfect. Again, a player that can dictate the tempo of the game. He creates chances for the players, and plus he'll be English, so that'll help a bit with the homegrown quote and stuff like that. So that'll be a win-win all around for Spurs.
Do you know, Dave? I completely agree with you. Jack Grealish, I think, is an outstanding player. And any time I've gone to Villa Park to watch Spurs play, Jack Grealish has been absolutely fantastic. And he just wants the ball. He demands the ball all the time. And he's just at the heart of everything. And to see him now in the England setup, excites me. And, on paper, I think England have got a fantastic squad. And I think we've got a chance, of going all the way in the Euros. However, I'm going to say that I think France will win it. But England, we should be going far in this competition. And it's funny because I think of England sometimes as being like Spurs. We almost get there and never quite get over that line. It's very frustrating as an England fan. I do expect us to win 2-0 this weekend. This Friday against Scotland. And even though we mentioned Jack Grealish, it would be nice to perhaps nick a centre back. For someone playing in the Euros. I know we spoke about Milan Skriniar a number of times, and to see him score that goal. Being a centre back as well, scored that fantastic goal the other night. Absolutely fantastic to see.
Unreal, unreal goal.
Unbelievable, yeah. Josh, Gary, Dave, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. We've got Manchester City at home for the first game in the Premier League season. It should be a good one.
I must have missed that, Jeff. What, we got Man City at home?
Cheers,
There's
Jeff.
no doubt, Gary, that you are the Chris tomorrow of this channel.
Thanks for having me all of 15 minutes on your show today.
Well, we've seen more of your house than we've actually heard from you. Gary, just quickly tell everyone where they can find you on YouTube.
Oh, White Hart Pain, when my Wi-Fi don't cut out, but most of the time you can find me on the 12th Man or normally Chris Cowlin's show. I like being a guest on there. I much prefer it. There's less responsibility for when it drops out.
and Dave, feel free to plug your fantastic channel as well.
You'll find me over at the Irish Hotspur. Look, it's a bit of fair content. I have a show coming out later on. I have a self-proclaimed Fonseca expert coming on later on tonight at 9:30. I have a lot of pressing questions to put to him. Not just your usual questions, what do we expect? I want to know, does this guy have a plan B? If we go out against City, saying first game of the season, and we try to play out from the back and it's clearly not working, does he have a plan B to be able to switch it up in games and stuff like that? I want to know more about the guy. I'm not convinced on him, so that's why I want to know more about the guy. I want to put more pressing questions to him and see what sort of answers we get back, and hopefully it can convince me and maybe like-minded people out there. So, that's the Irish Hotspur on YouTube. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Brilliant. Well, Josh, Gary, Dave, thanks so much for all your time, and thanks for getting up early to join me this morning to talk about the fixtures and the manager and the Euros, etc. Let's hope that England can go all the way. Let's hope that Daniel Levy and the board and Tottenham Hotspur Football Club can do some serious business these next few months, and we can go into the brand new season feeling excited that we can get back into the Champions League for the following season. Guys, thank you very much, and thanks so much for all the comments, everyone, all the messages, etc. If you don't subscribe to the channel yet, please do hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.